Hello, YouTube friends. Welcome to the first part of this Java programming course. This course is going to be completely different from everything we have seen so far because we are only going to work with Notepad. That's right, we are going to write all the code only in Notepad throughout the course. We are going to start by telling you a few things. First of all, this course is mainly focused on three types of people. Firstly, anyone who wants to learn to program. Secondly, people who want to delve into this programming language. And finally, all those people who already have previous knowledge in this language but want to strengthen it. Secondly, this course will not contain theory. That's right, we are going to focus heavily on practice, and as we progress, we will see the concepts without giving the theory. Well, first of all, before we start, we need to know what Java is. Java is a multi-platform object-oriented programming language. By multi-platform, we mean that this programming language was designed for developers to write their programs only once but to be able to run them on any device or, in this case, on any platform. Well, what do we need to program in Java? We need three very simple things. First of all, we need to download the JDK, which is also known as the Java Development Kit in English. This JDK will provide us with all the tools and libraries we need to develop Java applications and programs. Secondly, we need a computer. It doesn't matter if it's a PC or a laptop, but I can tell you that it doesn't require large resources. You can work perfectly with this course on a Windows XP. Finally, we need to know what Notepad and Command Prompt, or Terminal, are, as we will write our codes in Notepad and execute them from the command prompt. If you don't know how to use them, especially the command prompt, don't worry, we will be working with them quite a bit, as they will be our main tools. Now, why are we going to work with Notepad instead of some existing development tool? Well, by working with Notepad, we will develop the necessary skills to understand programming. We won't have any help, meaning that if we make a mistake or have an error, we will have to identify it ourselves. When using integrated development environments, IDEs, such as NetBeans, gcreator, and Eclipse, which are the most popular for Java, they help us auto-complete the code, mark errors, and even suggest solutions to our problems. So, we won't be using those. On the other hand, we have text editors, which are a modification of Notepad. In this case, we have Sublime Text or Notepad++. These two also help us mark errors and auto-complete our code. If I am writing a line of code, the text editor or IDE will help me auto-complete it, so I won't have errors in my writing. By using Notepad and not using any of these tools, as I mentioned, we are precisely developing that skill, understanding the syntax better and memorizing it, so that we have better control and mastery of this programming language. Well, now before we start, we need to see what has been developed in Java so that we have a little more motivation and know what scopes we can have by knowing this programming language. In the first place, we have the very popular video game called Minecraft. Minecraft in its early versions was entirely programmed in Java. In the second place, we have OpenOffice. It is an adaptation, evolution, or copy of what Microsoft Office is. The only difference is that OpenOffice is completely free. You don't have to pay for it to have it on your computer. You simply download, install, and use it. This OpenOffice is mostly programmed in Java. Finally, we have Android. It is well known that its base is programmed in Java, and even most of the libraries we use to program in Android are exact copies of Java libraries. This means that programming in Java is practically programming in Android. In fact, when you start programming in Android, one of the requirements is that you have previous knowledge in Java. Well, once we have defined what Java is, how it works and what we need to program in it, we will start with the practical part. Well, what we need to know is that we have to download the JDK. The JDK is available on the official Oracle website. Currently, Oracle is in charge of managing and providing us with new tools and updates for Java. I will leave the link in the video description so that you can go and download the JDK. But I will also show you how to get to this site so that tomorrow, when you need the JDK and perhaps don't have access to this course, you know how to download it. What we have to do is go to Google and do a search for JDK. Once we have the search results, we will click on this first link, which is Java Downloads. Once we enter the official site, we will scroll down and find this part here that says Download JDK. We will click here and it will take us to the site I showed you a moment ago, which is this one here. It's the same site. Once we are inside, as I mentioned, I will leave it in the video description anyway so you can go directly to the page. This will show us several sections. We are going to focus on this first section here. We will see several versions of operating systems. You will choose here which operating system you are working with. Throughout the course, I will be working with Windows 7 because it is still a very popular operating system, although new versions have already come out. But now you have to identify what operating system you are using. In my case, I am using a 32-bit Windows 7. But how are we going to know what operating system you have? Well, on Windows, to find out how many bits your operating system is, we're going to click on the Start button and then right-click on Computer. Okay, we're going to go to Computer and right-click and go to Properties. Note that it doesn't matter which version of Windows you are using, whether it's Vista, 7, or Windows 10. You can do this on any version of Windows. So, you're going to click on your Start button or go to Computer and right-click on it. We're going to click on Properties, and a window will appear displaying the features of our operating system. Now, as I mentioned earlier, for this course, you don't need a computer with high specifications. As you can see, my computer only has 2 gigs of RAM and a 3 gigs processor. These aren't high-end resources, but we can still program in Java. The important thing is to find out what type of system you are using. Here, it tells you what type of system you are using. I have a 32-bit operating system. This will indicate whether your system is 64-bit or 32-bit. I won't go into explaining the system architecture, as that is another topic. We're just going to focus on knowing whether your system has a 32-bit or 64-bit architecture for now. Since my system is 32-bit, I'm going to go back to the Oracle official site and find where the Windows or JDK for 32-bit Windows is located. In this case, it's this one that says x86. Many programs don't say 32-bit. They say x86. If your computer is a 64-bit Windows, you will download the one that says Windows for 64-bit. If you have any other operating system, then you would have to download the JDK according to your version or operating system. Once we have identified how many bits our operating system is, we need to accept the license. We're going to click here and it will tell us that we have accepted the license. Then we can proceed to download it. As I mentioned, I have a 32-bit operating system, so I'm going to click on this link here, and the download will start. Then we wait for the JDK to finish downloading. Once the JDK download is complete, we will go to where we downloaded it. In this case, I have my JDK here. So, I'm going to copy it to the desktop. It is not necessary for you to copy it to the desktop, but I am going to do it. Once you have copied it, we will execute it by double-clicking or right-clicking and running as administrator. Afterwards, an installation window will open, so we will wait for it to load. Once the installation window has opened, we will apply the typical next command, meaning you don't have to move any configuration settings. Just click next repeatedly. Once the installation is finished, one of 2 types of windows may appear, either like this or simply a window that says finish. Either way, it's not a big deal because, as I mentioned, you don't have to move any configuration settings. In this case, I'm just going to click close. Once the JDK is installed, we will go straight to our local disk C. Open your local disk C and go to the program files. Once there, we will look for the folder called Java. Here it is. We will enter it and we will notice that it has created some folders for us. In this case, it creates one called Junior and another called JDK. We will focus on the folder that says JDK. We will open it, and once we have opened that folder, we will go straight to the folder called bin. We will open it and as you can see, all the libraries and tools we need to start programming are here. Well, what we are going to do is copy the path of this folder. Okay, we are going to right-click on it and click on Copy. Once we have done this, we are going to configure our computer because just you have installed the JDK does not mean that we can start programming in Java. How are we going to do this? Well, you are going to go to Start and go to Control Panel. Once in Control Panel, we are going to go to System and Security and then to System. In System, we will enter this section here that says System. You will notice that we are back to the screen that I mentioned a moment ago. And you can also enter here by simply right-clicking on Start. Then clicking on Computer, and then Properties, which takes us to the same screen. These are two ways to get there. We are going to go to the part that says Advanced System Settings. And once the dialog window is open, we are going to go to this part here that says Environment Variables. Once we are in Environment Variables, we are going to focus on this part down here and we are going to look for a variable called Path. Here it is. We are going to click on it, and it will select it for us. We are going to click on Edit. Pay close attention here, without deleting anything, we are going to go to the end of the line where it says everything that is written, not at the beginning or in the middle, but at the end. Okay. We are going to put a semicolon and paste the path of the folder we just copied. Let's click on Paste. If you notice, it is here. We are telling our system to also check the elements that are inside this folder, which is the bin folder. OK. Let's click on OK, then on Accept, and finally on OK. Once we have finished doing all this, our computer is already configured, and we can use Java. But how are we going to check it? Well, let's go back to Start, and either do a search here and type command prompt, which is this, or alternatively, click on Start. Then All Programs. Go to Accessories, and look for Command Prompt. Open it, and it will open this black screen. OK. All you have to do is type the word Java. Press Enter. And if all this comes out, it means that you already have Java perfectly configured. So, let's leave it at that for now because what I wanted to do was introduce you to the course and get everything configured, so that in the next video, we can start working fully. Well, that's all from me. If you liked the video, don't forget to share it, give it a thumbs up, and of course, I invite you to subscribe to my channel since that would help me continue to grow a lot. I'm Adlan, and we'll see you in the next edition. See you soon.